She had done everything right. At least that's what she thought. Months of skipping breakfast, pushing through hunger, drinking only coffee in the mornings. Her friends told her intermittent fasting was the magic answer to fat loss. But every time she stepped on the scale, nothing changed. The same numbers stared back at her week after week. The frustration grew. She thought maybe her body is broken. Maybe fasting doesn't work for her. Maybe this is all a myth. Have you ever been in her shoes? Have you tried fasting diligently, waiting for the fat to melt away, only to find that the scale won't budge? You hear stories of people who swear by fasting, who lose inches and feel reborn, but for you, the results just aren't there. You start questioning yourself, your willpower, even your biology. Here's the truth: fasting itself isn't the problem. The human body is designed for it. Our ancestors thrived because of it. The issue lies in how fasting is practiced today and the hidden mistakes most people unknowingly make. Mistakes that keep insulin high when it should drop. Mistakes that block autophagy, the body's deep cleaning process, from switching on. And without those two key switches flipping, fat loss never truly begins. So before you blame fasting, understand this: your body has an incredible ability to burn fat, heal, and reset. But if certain doors are locked, fasting will feel like starvation instead of transformation. Today, we're going to open those doors. We'll uncover why fasting fails for so many people. And more importantly, we'll explore the science-backed ways to finally make it work, not just for losing fat, but for regaining health, energy, and a sense of control over your body. Most people begin fasting with a simple belief: if they stop eating, their body will have no choice but to burn fat. It sounds logical, almost obvious, but biology is rarely that simple. The body is a highly intelligent system, and fat loss is not just about eating less or skipping meals. It is about shifting the body's hormonal environment. Without that shift, fasting is nothing more than a long pause between meals, and fat loss remains locked away, untouched. The hormone that sits at the very center of this process is insulin. Insulin is the traffic controller of energy in your body. When it is high, your body is instructed to store energy. When it is low, your body is permitted to release and burn energy. Fat loss doesn't begin when the clock tells you it's been 16 hours since your last meal. It begins only when insulin drops low enough for the body to access its fat stores. That is the key. Think of your fat as a treasure chest buried in your body. It is there, full of stored energy, just waiting to be used. Fasting is like approaching that chest with the hope of unlocking it. But if insulin is still elevated from the food choices you made before the fast, or from hidden sources that keep nudging it upward, it is as if the chest is locked. You stand there staring at the treasure, but you cannot open it. Without the key, the fat remains sealed, no matter how long you wait. This is why so many people say, "I've been fasting for weeks and nothing is happening." It isn't that fasting doesn't work. It is that the metabolic switch never flipped. If you break your fast with refined carbs, sugary drinks, or constant snacking late into the eating window, insulin never gets the sustained dip it needs. You might be eating less food, but the hormonal message to your body is still store fat, don't burn it. Let's go a little deeper. Your body has two main fuel systems, glucose and fat. Glucose is like the cash in your wallet. It's easy to access, but it runs out quickly. Fat is like the savings account, huge reserves, but harder to tap into. Insulin is the banker that decides which account you can withdraw from. If insulin is high, you're restricted to using glucose only. If insulin is low, the doors to fat burning open, and you can finally draw from your savings account. Simply skipping meals without lowering insulin is like sitting in front of your bank hungry while the doors are still locked. This is why people often feel exhausted, cranky, or foggy when they first attempt fasting without understanding the role of insulin. Their body isn't allowed to touch the fat reserves, so they feel deprived instead of energized. The treasure chest is there, The savings account is full, but the key has not been turned. True fasting success comes from aligning two forces: the timing of when you eat and the quality of what you eat. It is not enough to close the eating window if you fill it with foods that keep insulin elevated. Processed foods, refined grains, constant snacking, or sugar-laden drinks. These choices sabotage the very purpose of fasting. Once insulin drops, however, everything changes. The body naturally shifts into fat-burning mode. Autophagy begins to clear out cellular waste. Energy becomes steady because fat stores are massive and virtually unlimited. Hunger decreases because the body no longer panics over running out of glucose. This is the true metabolic shift people are seeking, but it only happens when fasting is combined with lowering insulin. So fasting alone is not the magic trick. It is powerful, but incomplete. The real magic lies in creating the right conditions for fasting to unlock what is already within you. When insulin falls, the chest opens, and the body finally has permission to do what it was designed to do: burn fat efficiently, clean itself at the cellular level, and restore balance. One of the most common pitfalls with intermittent fasting is not what happens during the fast, but what happens when the fast is broken. Many people believe that as long as they skip meals, they've earned the right to eat whatever they want once the eating window opens. The clock strikes noon, and suddenly it becomes an all-you-can-eat buffet of processed snacks, oversized portions, and endless grazing until the window closes. On paper, the hours of fasting look impressive. In reality, the results are stalled because the eating window is treated as a free for all. Here's the problem. Overeating, whether in the form of excessive calories, constant snacking, or processed foods, keeps insulin elevated, and as long as insulin remains high, the body cannot unlock fat stores. You may have endured 16 hours of hunger, but if your 8-hour window is spent in a cycle of overeating and grazing, the benefits of fasting are undone, fat burning stalls, autophagy never truly activates, and the metabolic switch never flips. Think of it this way: fasting is like saving money throughout the week. Every hour without food is like putting dollars into your savings account. But when the eating window comes, if you binge on pizzas, chips, desserts, or sugary drinks, it's as if you spend every dollar you saved in one wild shopping spree. At the end of the week, your bank balance hasn't changed. You saved, but then you spent it all. The effort goes unrewarded. This is why so many people feel confused and disappointed. They think, but I fasted 16 hours every day. Why am I not losing weight? It isn't that the fasting was ineffective. It's that the eating window sabotaged the progress. The body simply never got the hormonal signal to switch into fat-burning mode. The fix is not to eat less in a way that feels punishing, but to eat smarter. The key is mindful eating. Instead of approaching the eating window like a license to indulge, approach it as an opportunity to nourish your body with foods that stabilize blood sugar, lower insulin, and keep you satisfied. This means prioritizing protein, lean meats, fish, eggs, legumes, because protein helps control appetite, builds muscle, and blunts the insulin response compared to refined carbs. Next, focus on nutrient-dense meals instead of empty calories. A plate of colorful vegetables, healthy fats like avocado or olive oil, and moderate portions of protein will keep you fuller longer and prevent the roller coaster of hunger and cravings that lead to constant snacking. Contrast that with a bag of chips or a sugary coffee drink, foods that fill the stomach temporarily but send insulin soaring, followed by the inevitable crash. Another practical fix is slowing down when you eat. So many people break their fast in a state of urgency, almost inhaling food as if to make up for lost time. But digestion and satiety signals need time to work. When you eat too fast, the body doesn't register fullness until it's too late, leading to overeating. Simply pausing between bites, chewing thoroughly, and listening to your body can cut calories effortlessly without feeling deprived. It's also important to set clear boundaries around the eating window. Some people believe that as long as they technically stop eating within 8 hours, they can snack non-stop throughout that period. But grazing keeps insulin pulsing upward every time food enters the bloodstream. It is far more effective to eat 2 or 3 balanced meals within the window and give your body breaks in between, rather than keeping it in a constant state of digestion. When overeating is tamed, fasting begins to do what it was designed to do. Insulin finally drops, fat becomes accessible, autophagy gets triggered, and energy levels rise. You stop feeling like fasting is a punishment and start experiencing it as a reset. The hours without food pay dividends instead of being cancelled out at the first sign of indulgence. In the end, fasting is not just about when you eat, but how you eat. If you treat the eating window as a chance to rebuild with quality foods instead of indulging in quantity, you allow fasting to deliver its full potential. It is the difference between spinning your wheels and finally moving forward. One of the most overlooked mistakes in fasting is believing that the quality of food doesn't matter as long as the eating window is respected. Many people think, I fasted for 16 hours, so I deserve this burger, fries, soda, or dessert. They assume the fasting hours will cancel out whatever they eat afterward. But the body doesn't work like that. What you put into it matters just as much as when you put it in. If the eating window is filled with refined carbohydrates, sugars, processed snacks, and seed oils, the insulin spikes and inflammation triggered by those foods undo much of the benefit of the fast. Imagine fasting as cleaning your house. You spend hours tidying up, putting things in order, scrubbing away the dirt. But the moment you open your eating window with processed junk food, it's like tracking mud back inside, spilling garbage on the floor, and leaving greasy fingerprints on the walls. All that effort to create a clean, healing environment is reversed in an instant. The body has to shift from fat burning and repair mode back into damage control. This is because poor quality foods trigger hormonal chaos. Refined carbs and sugars rapidly spike blood sugar, causing insulin to surge. That single surge is enough to block fat burning for hours. Worse still, seed oils and ultra-processed foods inflame the body at a cellular level, making insulin resistance worse over time. So while fasting lowered insulin and began to restore balance, the wrong foods push everything right back to where you started. It becomes a cycle of progress and sabotage that leaves you spinning in place. The solution is not complicated but requires a shift in mindset. The eating window is not a reward for fasting. It is an opportunity to replenish your body with the highest quality fuel possible. The body is most sensitive and receptive after a fast. Every bite you put in matters more because it sets the hormonal stage for the next several hours. If you feed it junk, you push insulin high and reignite inflammation. If you feed it whole, nutrient-rich foods, you extend the benefits of the fast, keeping insulin low and fat burning steady. So what does this look like in practice? Begin by focusing on vegetables. These are the foundation of a nutrient-rich diet filled with fiber, vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients that support cellular repair and stabilize blood sugar. Fiber in particular slows down the absorption of glucose, preventing sharp spikes in insulin. A plate full of colorful vegetables is like giving your body a steady, clean stream of energy rather than a sudden flood. Next, prioritize clean proteins. Eggs, fish, grass-fed meats, poultry, or plant-based proteins like lentils and beans provide the amino acids needed for muscle repair and satiety. Protein not only helps you feel full longer, but also has the smallest impact on insulin compared to refined carbs. When you center your meals around protein, you create a stable base that prevents overeating and keeps cravings under control. Healthy fats are another key. Foods like avocado, olive oil, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish are nutrient-dense and anti-inflammatory. They slow digestion, keep you satisfied, and blunt the insulin response. Instead of the sharp roller coaster of glucose highs and crashes, healthy fats create a smooth, sustained energy curve that makes fasting easier the next day. By contrast, Seed oils, common in fried and packaged foods, are highly inflammatory. They create oxidative stress inside the body, disrupt metabolism, and worsen insulin resistance over time. Avoiding these oils is one of the most powerful ways to ensure that fasting works as intended. When you combine vegetables, clean proteins, healthy fats, and fiber-rich foods in your eating window, you extend the benefits of fasting far beyond the hours you abstain from food. The body continues to stay in a low insulin, fat-burning state. Inflammation is reduced instead of reignited. Energy is steady instead of crashing. Hunger signals become more manageable, and the urge to binge disappears because the body is nourished rather than deprived. In the end, fasting is not a license to eat poorly. It is a magnifying glass that makes food quality matter even more. If you clean the house with fasting, you want to keep it clean by choosing foods that support your health instead of undoing the work. Every choice either extends the benefits of the fast or erases them. The difference between frustration and success often lies not in the hours of fasting, but in the quality of the foods you choose when you eat. When most people start fasting, they see it only as a tool for fat loss. They look at the scale, measure their waistline, and wait for the numbers to go down. But fasting is far more than a calorie restriction method. It is one of the most powerful ways to activate the body's built-in repair system. That system is called autophagy, and ignoring it is one of the biggest mistakes people make. They think fasting is only about not eating. But if the body never gets the signal to trigger autophagy, they miss out on the deeper benefits and wonder why results are so slow. Autophagy is a word that can sound intimidating, but its meaning is simple. It literally translates to self-eating. Imagine your body has a recycling program. Instead of letting old damaged and toxic cells pile up, autophagy collects them, breaks them down, and recycles their components into something useful. It's like cleaning out a cluttered garage, getting rid of the junk, and reusing the valuable materials. This process not only makes your cells more efficient, but also creates space for new, healthier cells to thrive. Here's the key: fat loss is supercharged when autophagy and fat burning happen together. When insulin drops, the body begins to pull energy from fat stores. At the same time, autophagy clears away cellular waste, improves mitochondrial efficiency, and reduces inflammation. That combination makes the metabolism run smoother, so fat burning becomes easier and more consistent. You're not just losing weight, you're repairing the very machinery that allows fat loss to happen in the first place. The problem is, many people never allow autophagy to fully switch on. They break their fast too early, snack during fasting hours, or consume drinks that quietly raise insulin. Even something as innocent as a splash of milk in coffee or a sweetened beverage can interrupt the process. Every small rise in insulin tells the body food is available, no need to recycle. The repair program shuts down and the body returns to storage mode instead of cleanup mode. Think of it like this: autophagy is a janitor that comes out to clean only when the building is empty. If you keep walking in and out, leaving crumbs behind, the janitor never gets the chance to do the deep cleaning. You may think you're still fasting, but constant little interruptions prevent the real benefits from unfolding. This is why the concept of clean fasting is so important. Clean fasting means consuming nothing that raises insulin or interferes with cellular repair. Plain water, black coffee, and unsweetened tea are safe. But once you add sugar, cream, flavored drinks, or constant snacking, the body no longer sees it as fasting. The clock may say 16 hours, but metabolically, you've been stopping and starting, never reaching the deeper stage where autophagy can thrive. Another reason people miss out on autophagy is because their fasts are too short. For many, a 12-hour or even a 16-hour fast is a great start, but autophagy ramps up more significantly during longer stretches, closer to 20 or even 24 4 hours. That doesn't mean you must do extended fasts daily, but incorporating longer fasts occasionally can unlock repair pathways that short fasts cannot reach. It's like doing a light cleaning every day versus scheduling a deep clean once in a while. Both are valuable, but they serve different purposes. When autophagy is allowed to activate, the results go beyond fat loss, inflammation decreases, energy becomes more stable, brain clarity improves, and the body literally feels lighter because it is not weighed down by cellular debris. At the same time, the fat burning process is enhanced because the body is operating more efficiently. Cells are healthier, mitochondria, the energy factories of the body, are renewed, and hormones like insulin become more sensitive. All of these changes add up to a metabolism that is far more effective at burning fat. So fasting is not just about withholding food. It's about creating the right conditions for the body to heal itself. If you rush to break your fast, snack constantly, or sip on insulin spiking drinks, you rob yourself of the deeper benefits. But if you embrace clean fasting and allow enough time for autophagy to unfold, you unlock the full spectrum of fasting's power. Fat loss then becomes easier, more natural, and more sustainable because the body is not fighting against itself. It is being rebuilt from the inside out. Protein is one of the most misunderstood parts of fasting and nutrition. People either fear it, thinking it will break their fast completely, or they overindulge in massive portions once their eating window opens. Both extremes sabotage the very benefits they are chasing. The body thrives on balance, and protein is no exception. Get too little, and cravings skyrocket while muscle begins to waste away. Get too much in a single sitting, and insulin spikes high enough to shut down fat burning for hours. Protein is essential because it is the raw material for repair. Every cell, every muscle fiber, every hormone relies on amino acids, the building blocks of protein. When fasting, the body is already tapping into its reserves, so if you consistently undereat protein, your body has no choice but to break down muscle tissue to compensate. This leads to weakness, slower metabolism, and an increased drive to overeat because the body is desperately seeking what it's missing. People often mistake these cravings for a lack of willpower when in truth they're simply undernourished. On the other hand, swinging to the opposite extreme is just as damaging. Some believe that since protein is healthy, more must be better. They break their fast with a huge steak, several protein shakes, or enormous portions in one meal. But the body can only process so much protein at once. Beyond a certain threshold, excess protein is converted into glucose through a process called gluconeogenesis. This raises blood sugar and spikes insulin, exactly what you don't want if your goal is fat loss. Instead of opening the fat-burning doors, you've flooded the system, forcing the body back into storage mode. Think of protein like fuel for an engine. Without enough, the car sputters, slows down, and eventually stalls. But if you pour in too much at once, the tank overflows, flooding the engine and preventing it from running properly. The sweet spot is filling just enough to keep the engine humming smoothly without overload. Practical guidance begins with aiming for moderation. A balanced amount of protein spread across your eating window works far better than extremes. For most people, this means prioritizing a palm-sized portion of protein at each meal rather than saving it all for one giant plate. Eggs, fish, lean meats, poultry, tofu, or lentils can all serve this role. This steady supply keeps the body satisfied, preserves muscle, and prevents the blood sugar roller coaster that comes with protein overload. Combining protein with healthy fats and vegetables further refines the balance. Fat slows down digestion, giving the body more time to absorb nutrients while keeping you full. Vegetables add fiber, which stabilizes blood sugar and feeds the gut microbiome. Together, this combination blunts the insulin response, making protein work with your body instead of against it. A grilled piece of salmon with a side of roasted vegetables and avocado will do far more for your fat loss goals than a protein shake chugged alongside fries or a mountain of chicken eaten in one sitting. Another mistake is ignoring the timing of protein. Many fasters break their fast with carbohydrate, heavy foods, thinking they need quick energy. But this only leads to glucose spikes and crashes. Starting with protein instead calms hunger, provides steady energy, and prevents overeating later. When the first thing your body receives after fasting is protein paired with fiber and healthy fats, it sets the stage for the rest of the eating window to remain balanced. Moderation also applies across the week, not just the day. Some days may naturally be lower in protein if you're doing a longer fast, while others will be higher. What matters is the overall balance across time. Think of it like managing a budget. You don't have to spend the exact same amount daily, but overspending or underspending consistently will eventually create problems. When protein intake finds its balance, not too little, not too much, fasting becomes smoother and more sustainable. Hunger is controlled, muscle is preserved, insulin remains steady, and fat burning continues uninterrupted. It isn't about perfection, it's about avoiding the extremes. Just as an engine runs best with the right amount of fuel, the body thrives when protein is given in the right dose, at the right times, paired with the right companions on the plate. Fasting by itself is not the magic button people hope it to be. Simply skipping meals will not guarantee fat loss if the deeper mechanisms of the body are ignored. What makes fasting powerful is not the clock alone, but the changes it triggers when practiced correctly. Every insight we have explored comes together here: lowering insulin, respecting food quality, avoiding overeating, and allowing autophagy to activate. When all of these elements are aligned, fasting transforms from a frustrating experiment into a powerful lifestyle that burns fat and heals from the inside out. The first pillar is insulin. Fat loss cannot occur unless insulin drops low enough to unlock fat stores. This is why fasting must be supported with choices that keep insulin under control, not only during the fast but during the eating window. If the foods chosen constantly elevate insulin, fasting hours become wasted hours. The real power of fasting lies in giving the body the hormonal permission to burn stored fat, not just in skipping a meal. The second pillar is food quality. Fasting cleans the system, but poor quality food clogs it again. Breaking a fast with refined carbs, sugars, or seed oils spikes insulin and reignites inflammation, erasing much of the progress. On the other hand, vegetable, healthy fats, clean proteins, and fiber-rich foods extend the benefits of fasting well into the eating window. They keep insulin stable, curb cravings, and nourish the body at a cellular level. This is how fasting becomes sustainable instead of a cycle of progress and sabotage. The third pillar is avoiding overeating. Many people undo their fasting hours with binging or grazing once the window opens. This keeps insulin pulsing and prevents autophagy from ever fully engaging. The solution is mindful eating, listening to hunger cues, slowing down, and focusing on nutrient density instead of sheer volume. Protein in moderation paired with healthy fats and vegetables is the foundation. This combination not only satisfies but also prevents the blood sugar roller coaster that drives overeating. The fourth pillar is autophagy. True transformation happens when fat burning and cellular repair work hand in hand. Skipping food for hours opens the door, but constant snacking or insulin spiking drinks slam it shut. Clean fasting with plain water, black coffee, or unsweetened tea allows the body to dive deep into autophagy. Occasional longer fasts amplify this repair process even more, giving the body a chance to recycle damaged cells and improve metabolic efficiency. When this system is respected, fat loss is not just faster but healthier because the body is literally being rebuilt from the inside. The final step is the mindset shift. Fasting is not a diet trick, a quick fix, or a punishment for overeating. It is a lifestyle tool designed to reset metabolism, reduce visceral fat, lower inflammation, and restore balance. It reconnects us with the way our bodies were designed to function. Alternating between feasting and fasting, storing and burning, cleaning and rebuilding. Once you see it this way, fasting stops feeling like deprivation and starts feeling like freedom. It is not about starving the body, but about giving it the space to do what it does best: heal, repair, and burn fat efficiently. The solution is not to give up on fasting because it doesn't work. The solution is to do it correctly with the right knowledge and the right approach. When you align your fasting practice with the principles of lowering insulin, eating real food, avoiding excess, and respecting autophagy, results follow naturally. The body begins to shed fat, not just from the surface, but from deep within, the dangerous visceral fat that drives disease and fatigue. Energy improves, mental clarity sharpens, and health is restored in a way that no short-term diet can ever deliver. So now the question turns to you. Which of these mistakes have you been making? Have you been treating the eating window like a reward, filling it with junk? Have you underestimated the importance of food quality? Have you snacked through your fast or gone to extremes with protein? Awareness is the first step. What will you change starting today to unlock the true power of fasting in your life?